Justine, welcome and thank you for sending your video in to me today. So, wanted to start off, I always review all the videos before going in and analyzing them, pardon me. And one thing, so noticing, I look at a couple things. I look at sort of the rider, I look at the horse's jump, and I look at the whole presentation. Are you schooling? Are you showing? Sort of, I'm looking at the height of the jump, looking at all sorts of things. One thing I want to see is when you start your next time you do a show, I want you to give yourself a little bit more time, okay? Time to prepare your canter. For me, you picked up the trot about, let's say, right about here, right? And then you picked up the canter right about here. And then it only gave you, let's see if I can screen this bit forward here. It only gave you from about this gait to here, this long, to really get that much of rhythm. Now, if you were on a horse that was a bit more advanced, right, and judging from the height of these jumps, seems like he's a greenie, right? So if you're on a horse that much more advanced, and you were a more advanced rider, if both of you guys were a pair together, then I would say, okay, cool, that's fine. But even then, you watch all the top riders, you sort of watch them come in, they halt at a jump, they familiarize their horse with the arena, and then they pick up, they take a nice big circle to get their rhythm, get their momentum going, and then they approach the jump. Okay, so I want you to sort of think about that and the next time that you come with the jump, because the one thing that I noticed in your coursework was that as your course progresses, your horse progresses as well. Okay, so think about that, right? So as we progress here, first jump was good, but a little bit lackluster. I could have seen a little bit more pace. Careful that when you make your turns, you're not using so much inside rein. I'm going to talk a lot about that in your jump off round. When you're using your inside rein, and let me go forward here for you on this. When you're using your inside rein directly, indirectly, his shoulders, Magic Mike's shoulders, are going to go boop to the outside. Right? So next time when you have to make your rollback turns, I want you to think of using a little more outside rein, outside leg. So you'll bring your outside rein more towards your inside hip without crossing the withers, okay? That's key. Without crossing the withers. And use your outside leg, be a little bit, just a touch behind the girth to send him forward, okay? Your inside leg will continue to be active, but just to sort of help carve out those turns, your outside rein and your outside leg, your outside rein is going to prevent him from falling in, and that when you come out of the turn, you have a horse that's sort of going straight between both of your reins and your legs, right? Not one that's sort of going, let me see if I can draw this out for you, off of like your left rein, and then all of a sudden he's kind of going with the right shoulder. Does that make sense? Good. Another thing I want you to think about. I want you to focus on your position here. So again, I don't know where your background is from. If it's from hunters or jumpers, I'm counting on that it's probably hunters just from your breakover. Again, a lot of times the breakover is really great. However, for this level of horse, for this greenness, he's going to need your position, which actually where I drew the circle is quite good. But over the jumps, when you get to a little bit of a deeper distance, because he's a horse that wants to go a little bit on his forehand right now until he learns the balance, the self-carriage. Right now he depends a little bit more on your hands for the self-carriage. I want you to think of using your position as the balance over the top of the jumps. So we have to sort of get away from that like quick breakover, closing of that hip angle, and begin to open that hip angle and lift your chin and lift your chest, especially when the jumps get a little bit deeper, the distances get a little bit deeper. Okay, I'm going to show this to you right here. Pause it. I'm going to erase our little circle. Oops, pardon me. Now, so we got a little bit of a deeper distance here, okay? Now, what I would like to see is your position. Let's see if I can do an angle here. So right now, your angle is like so, okay? What I would like to see to change that angle would be hip ankle's fine here, but now a little bit here. So your elbows can sort of give as much as you need to, right? But your position, as opposed to pushing him down further on the forehand, sort of lifts the forehand up and puts more weight onto his hind end. So he learns, again, more self-carriage on the hind leg. So he learns to pop up and jump up and across his jumps, not up and not forward and down over his jumps, okay? Good use of your outside range. Just again, watch that there's not so much of a left drift over the jump. I notice especially here, notice that where you take off, so you started off straight, okay? You were going for the straight line. You were good here. And then towards the end, you sort of let them go here, then to the left. Watch your path. See, not quite straight. So pay attention to that. Notice how your rhythm is gaining a little more momentum. It's not ever getting faster. This horse has a very great natural tendency to hold a rhythm, right? So I love that. And this is a much better rollback turn. Why? Because it's forward, right? You're not having to run him to the distance. You're not having to miss out on the distance, right? So their last three jumps for me were your best. And that's because you got him in the rhythm, right? You had him straighter at the jumps. A forward horse, as I always say, is a straighter horse. Again, I think all of this quite simply could have been rectified by simply a 20-meter circle to start off your course. So you have more time to get him in front of your legs, so you're not sort of begging him, right? All that is a matter of, like if you think about it, your first couple jumps were on basically a 20-meter circle, and it just took you that long to sort of get in the swing of things. So next time when you go out into your coursework, try allowing him a little more forward in your first circle to sort of familiarize him, and then approach your first jump, right? You always want to think that you have enough pace where you can wait for your jump, as opposed to saying, oh crap, I don't have enough there, I got to move him forward, right? Because then we always end up putting our horses on the forehand, especially the green guys, right? I want you to really focus on being able to move him forward from your seat and your leg, and without having to carry him with your hands, okay? So he learns the displacement of the balance from his shoulders back onto his hind end, okay? I hope that helps. Start thinking about that and watch that left drift. Good luck. So Justine, I much prefer this entry, right? You gave yourself a way better time, a way better amount of time to present the course to your horse. Your pace is already better back here, right? Much better here, okay? And you start off much better. However, one thing I want you to note is coming out of your turns, especially with the green horse. Notice, now again, it's a bit grainy, but notice for me which way your horse's head is tilted, okay? So you're coming off the left turn. For me, his head is tilted a little bit to the left, okay? Again, that means his shoulder is sort of going to the right the whole time. And you'll notice that as you go down the line, the shoulder keeps falling to the right. Why? Because the turn was created through your left rein, okay? So always remember, a rule of thumb, horse's shoulders are going to go the opposite way that you pull on the rein, okay? So if you're in the canter, right, and you're going to come off the left-hand turn, for me, I want you to just think of an old cowboy way. Think of using your outside rein, outside leg, bringing your right rein towards your left hip without ever crossing the withers, okay? And what that does is it blocks the shoulder, the right shoulder, from falling to the right, and it helps your horse stay straight. I guarantee you won't have that weird, hairy feeling of a chip to the first jump, and your line, I think it was a 4-stride line, will be better. Not to mention, you'll be better prepared without losing momentum through your turn back to your third jump, okay? So let's watch that. So we took a little bit long spot there, okay? So then, again, as we land, right, you take the inside rein, and I want you to watch. I want you to watch. Where do his shoulders go, okay? That's proof in the pudding here. I'm going to draw a line for you. So here's his head. Here's his shoulders, okay? So if that's not more proof, then I don't know what is, okay? Shoulders are here. His neck is being pulled this way, okay? So instead, what I want to see is use of more of your right rein and right leg, right? You can, Buck will sometimes say a little counterflexion position. Sometimes you just want to think, I just like to think, keep it simple, little neck rein, right? However, the rule of thumb is your outside rein can never cross over the withers, ever. You can open your inside rein to guide him, right? To show him where you want to go. But the shoulder can only be stopped from falling this way from use of this outside rein and outside leg, okay? Always remember that. Now, what happened in this turn for me is we sort of lost a little momentum here, okay, because the shoulder was falling out. Then watch how far you allow him to cut in the air with this jump, okay? So what I'm assuming here, and I'll also see you fall forward, but what I'm assuming here, so here's the middle of the jump, okay? I want you to look and see where you are in this middle part of the jump. Right here, left of center, okay? Left of center. So I noted in the last video where he liked to drift a little bit to the left, whether it's you or he that likes to drift, it's a drift. So something that you need to pay attention to. Had you pulled a little bit less on that left rein to lose the shoulder to the right, okay, and he would have come out of that turn a little straighter between both the reins, and you would have found the middle of the jump and would have had a sweeter distance, okay? But because we let him cut to the left, we had too much pulling on one rein and not enough the other, right? And then accompanying with letting our upper body fall forward. That's how we got that chippy sort of uncomfortable distance, right? And the drift, okay? Off we go. However, it was a very good recovery. A nice jump out. It was much better than the last one. And again, a really nice distance coming out and really good in your position, okay? So a lot to like in that course. And I much prefer this pace for him over the other one, right? You're riding him forward from your leg. Let's change this in a different color. You're riding him forward from your leg, and you're pushing him into your hand, as opposed to pulling him from your hand into the contact, okay? Remember, we always have to ride the horse from the back to the front, never front to back, right? When you start to use your hand to bring the horse's head down without the leg, that's when you lose the back and you lose the hind end power. When you ride him forward in these courses, your turns will come way, way, way better, way easier. You'll have a straighter horse for it, okay? Always remember riding your horse back to front, all right? Awesome horse, great job. Keep up the great work. Cheers.